But the man who can get a studio said, who would live in here, put was and put was out, we can control the studio. One person in here, unless they don't go around. No, man. Don't do that, bro. Let's go up there, no, beg you.
Yeah, no one.
I'm not begging you, now, please.
Emmanuel 2, and we are now beginning the conversation. Thanks so kindly for joining us. Gentlemen, can you please close the door? We got a feedback. Okay, so Senator, good morning. Let me get to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, and we are so pleased this morning to have with us Senator Crayton Duncan, one of the floor photo now, because don't forget I covered the Senate for 3 years plus. So many days he was on the floor and making sure that some of these things happen. But as God will have it, he's in our presence this morning. We're going to talk on a couple of issues surrounding the improvement of the living condition of the people for whom they have been over the years, preaching for. Welcome and feel at home.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for this welcome.
How are you?
Well, I'll tell the old man thank you. Why else? Yeah. Thank you.
So how's Sano County?
People are there going through the tours of time and the struggle, just as the rest of the Liberians are going through.
Normally you say your people are not happy. Are they happy by this time?
Actually, they are not. They definitely are not. Yeah.
So what are some of the reasons that so far they have been able to tell you that, hey, these are reasons why we are not happy? So far, so good.
Well, thank you again for this invite at the station. I am moving around trying to bring up a new debate.
Okay.
And for those Liberians that are willing to listen and analyze are the one I'm talking to. Because we have all kinds of us here. People who mind are set and feel that education is it. What they have learned is what they know. I strongly believe that those that are willing to open their mind and begin to understand what we are trying to do will contribute to the movement that I'm about to establish in this country that I call our movement. You see, our people are not really happy, and most of them think that the displeasure is based on we the politicians who are corrupt. And so nobody look at anything else. Everyone is concerned about corruption. And so, yeah, corruption, I believe, constitutes 20% of our poverty in this country. But the balance, 80%, is based on the policy that we have on the books that are keeping our people poor. And so that is my new argument. And the reason I'm saying that is because we are the people. We have the right to transform or to change these policies to help our people to improve their livelihood. What I have learned so far, with all my different experience in Liberian student politics, I was once the president for Monserrato Student Union during Samuel Doe time. Larry Togba was the president of LINSU, and Thomas Du was the secretary general at the time. I tried to play student politics, I tried to understand, and everything in my mind was corruption, corruption, corruption. Throughout, even when I was a little bit getting mature, during Samuel Doe time, we had a Daily Observer had just come up, and we had Kenneth Best, one of the renowned journalists in Liberia. He was on corruption, corruption. So that's a kind of phenomenon that we all grab. And so we hold our suffering only to corruption. So I have, based on my experience, I travel out of here, I've watched other people, I like to travel, so I've traveled all around the world in many places. I have come to realize that yes, corruption, but it's not just all. The failed policies that are holding us down, now we should begin to look at it, reform it, revisit it, and that will help our people. There is a book written by a gentleman called Sheikh Nana Diop. Diop said that, you know, the people we call our partners, our international partners, they are 100% responsible for poverty striking Africa. And that was something that I didn't believe. He said in his book that they have crafted a way of life to keep us never from uniting. So that is part of what comes into our country. The first thing they don't want us to be is to be friendly with one another. So they allow the common man to insult their leaders on corruption, and I mean, they will make sure that the journalists, the press, everyone hit on the leaders based on corruption, being responsible for that. But those leaders that you will find them being close to and being friendly with are those that are propagating their interest. Okay. All right, and so that is something that I have beginning to pay attention to. And so they will never want us to develop. They will keep us weak in the industrial area. They will make sure that our educational system doesn't work for us. It is basically, well, it trains us to be workers and not innovators. All right. So with all of these things, I began to think. So now I have realized, because I served as representative in this country for what, 6 years, one term. I have left there and I've come to the Senate, 1.5 years now. Now I am convinced. And so if I place it on the floor, which I have done, and many times argue on the floor, you will find party politics dominating the actual reality of what we have to change. So before fighting it on the floor, I have decided to create a new system, bring it to the Liberian people. Let the Liberian people pay attention to what I'm trying to say, and then organize a movement. And that movement will pressure, it will help me to add to that pressure in the house or the houses in order for us to think better. Instead of just allowing the Liberian people to accuse us of corruption that is the cause of our striking poverty that we have in this country. I give you an example. We have something that we'll talk about, we'll say the self-initiative. Doing it ourselves. Never rely on anybody to come to help us. Look at our gold minerals that were exported last year. 7.8 tons of gold in total were exported out of our country. Just last year alone. Now, think about it. 100 kilograms is equal to 1 ton of gold. And we exported 7.8. Now that 100 kilogram of gold will give you $109 million, because a gram now in the international market is $109 for 1 gram. So if we times that by 7, you're talking about over 800 million United States dollars that we could have had, which will just take care of our national budget. And so whatever money we gather for outside based on our different taxes will ask, or basically add to what we can do for our people. And so, and that is, look at B Mountain alone, my brother. B Mountain alone indicated that they exported $800 million worth of gold out of here. They will come and do it on our behalf, either through negotiation, percentage-wise, or payment, to keep them doing what we are not capable of doing. You understand? And so, and that is in 22B of our Constitution. But with all of that, you got people then coming in, grabbing it, even expanding on land that is not even given to them in the so-called concession that government is giving. And the people have no saying. Their livelihood is not changed. Nothing around there changed. Go to B Mountain that exported $800 million. The people still living in mud houses. The road going to B Mountain is still a mess. The community are not benefiting. The livelihood have not changed. The children of those descendants who own that land are still in destitute poverty. So why is it that we're not sound enough to sit down and rethink the strategy of just blaming to changing our attitudes to begin to help ourselves? And so everybody there, the IMF will come, the World Bank will help. They are never created or were never created to help. As a matter of fact, after World War II, the IMF and the World Bank was solely established for the reconstruction of Europe. They weren't instituted to help Africa. No. And so how did they reconstruct Europe? Through our mineral resources. They use our minerals in Africa. And so that is what is happening in the world. And that is what they do. That is what their entire thing do. Some of us who have the capacity, or some other Liberians who have the capacity to help and do these things, they first of all come in and they buy us. We are banned from investing. Senators can invest. Representatives cannot invest. And our people are happy. They say conflict of interest. That's a big term you use. It sounds very simple, but you say it is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. Every Liberian now will be cussing me when you put it in. Oh, you want to invest? But you fail to realize, we who call ourselves the so-called elites of this country, if we don't have money to help our poor people, how are they going to be helped? So, Duncan is barred from investing. Okay, fine. But you leave him there. You come and say the salary that the Senate or the representative are making is too much. So, you're cut it down. IMF will not work with you guys. If you're done, reduce your salary. Oh, all right. They cut the salary. Now, who are they making poor? You think you're making me poor, but that's not me. You are stopping me from extending my helping hand to my Liberian people to keep them more in poverty. Come to my house on Saturday morning. The last Saturday, I counted over 125 old women.
Wow.
That came to queue up in front of my fence, which they do every Saturday. Now, everybody happy. Oh, who are they? Oh, they came. But if you don't, now, I'll give you another example. Go to Sino. The people of this country voted for Joseph Boyka, right? To be president. All right. But do they have the freedom to meet Joseph Boyka when they want to talk to him? No. My people of Sino don't have that. Now, who do you think after the election they come to because they have access to? They come to the senators, they come to the representatives that they elected. Now, what do they come for? We need school. The distance my children are to walk to, they can't make it, so there's nobody here. We need clinics. When our pregnant women want to born their children, there's nowhere to carry them. Before we reach them in the wheelbarrow, something has happened. We need youth centers for us to assemble. We need market buildings. We need scholarship for our children to go to school. They bring the problem on you. But we as Liberians, we are happy that we must continue being poor while the Lebanese man, the Chinese man, the Indian man, the Turkish man or the Turkish man come to Liberia with nothing in their pocket and get rich. They come in 3 to 4 years time, they accumulate a lot of wealth and they take it to the country. But we're still here because the psychology, according to Dior, the psychology that they have used over the years have dwelt in the minds of our people, and they do not want to see anybody prospering.
Great point, senators. I think you've laid the basic.
And before, the very American people, their congressmen who are the representatives and their senators are investing. Just go on Google. They have the right to own companies. They have the right to invest in stock. own the Wall Street and they trade stocks. How do you own stock? How do you trade stock? You must be sharing the companies. But they can't run into Liberia. You see, they are so smart. And we as black, anything white is better than anything black. So when the white talk, the black men submit, because to the extent they believe that there's something in our medulla that is different from theirs, and that makes us to be submissive. So even during slavery time, in the great United States Constitution, they wrote that black man is 1/3 of a human being. I want you to take that.
Wow.
Take that seriously. We are 1/3 of a human being. So that made us not to have the right to be a human being. So they tell us we are not smart. So now it is the time for us to begin to pay attention to ourselves and don't be thinking. I gave you an example of countries who took up these policies. They call it economic liberation. Vietnam, maybe it's fireplace, but Vietnam took from 1993 to 2013. In 20 years, the Vietnamese reduced their poverty from 50% to 3%. I gave you another one again. China, where everybody knew, from 2000 to 2020, China reduced it from 49% to 0.6%. Maybe if I talk about Rwanda, you will not know it, but Ghana, yeah, Ghana very nice though. Ghana, when I went to Ghana in 1990 because of the war, Ghana was nothing. Go and see Ghana today. Ghana started 1991 to 2012. 21 years. Ghana reduced the poverty from 52% to 13%. What has Liberia begun to do? So this is my argument.
Great, great platform laid to set the basis for the conversation, and let's inform our listening audience that Radio Buto in Sano County is relaying this interview, as well as D2 Radio in Government Camp Sano County is also relaying this interview. Now, the emphasis, our movement. When you say our movement, Senator, it brings the interpretation. In the society we have, is that the senator has an interest in 2029. He has something on his sleeve. When you say our movement,
Well,
is that the case? Let's begin on that note.
let me tell you something here.
What is the movement about? What is what is the ideas? What necessitated our movement?
The suffering. The suffering. The suffering. Look, I have taken my entire years of life that God, my father died in his 30s. I think God have quadrupled that, I should use that, to still be keeping me alive up to now. The question is why? Did he keep me alive just for me to think about my children, to think about my family? He has elevated me to this position, has put me on a platform. What am I using the platform for? For the next 8 years, what should I be doing with it? So what I have realized is not about us anymore. Look, I gave you one thing. There are different let's just say theories in the world when it comes to international relations. One of it is the realism theory. In that theory, people can say, oh, I'm a realist. Then what it means, I'm a straightforward person. I can say the truth. But that's not what being realist is. Realism is a theory that talks about the state of anarchy. Under the state of anarchy, it says, no one is coming to help you. No one is coming to help you. Don't sit back and be hoping that people are coming. Another philosophy under the anarchist theory is, no authority is above state. You understand me? Yeah. So even the United Nations, none of them above your state. And America demonstrates this all the time. When she wanted to go into Iraq, the United Nations told her no. What she did? And she turned to another group. So the next thing here again is that all about states according to what? Everything about us is about our national interest. We should build on our own power. So what I'm trying to tell you is, we must be realists. We should know that nobody coming to our rescue. Okay. And the only thing that God gave us is what we have on our soil. That's the resources. When it is finished, take for an example how selfish we are. that we don't like to see Liberians improving in their livelihood. But when a white man come and improve, you're not able to go to him to even explain any problem to him. He go on. When it came to these guys that in Cape Mount, no, not B Mountain, they were hauling iron ore.
Western Cluster.
Western Cluster. Western Cluster did not come to mine. Western Cluster came to ship ore that were already mined. I mean, think about that. They have already spent money, people have spent money, dug that mine, and they had it sitting. Nobody in Liberia have the right or have that power to take that mine just by sending trucks, carry the trucks to Freeport, dump it inside that ship, and the ship carry it to sell it on behalf of Liberians or Liberia? No. A handful of people prefer getting white men to come just to transport it, not digging, but just to transport it so they can have the interest into these various places for self-benefit. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. How crazy, how naive can we be keeping our people poor but happy for foreigners to get rich in our eyes?
Great. So let's make reference to Diop that you made reference to in his book, indicating that our partners 100% responsible for our poverty.
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy to keep us in poverty.
Yes.
Now let's come to concession. The last time I listened to you on the floor talking about the issues of concessions and companies and investment, how all of the intricacies surrounding such you were speaking to. But you have a greater responsibility as legislators, senators. You carry the burden of oversight, lawmaking, and representation. You ratify these concessions and agreements. How come you are not crying wolf that these investments, these concessions that you ratify, you're not coming out to say that their operations are not in the interest of the very people? But mind you, you are the one who ratified their operations. How can you differentiate?
I love that question.
Mm-hmm.
I love that question. I'm not running from the fact.
Okay.
Even though I've been there 1.5 years and my signature is not there. Mm-hmm. But here is the fact. Collectively, we are responsible as legislators.
You are about to renew. Even though your signature is not there.
But watch the fight.
At the lower house, your signature at the lower house.
Well, I'm not even going to start thinking whether signature there or not.
Okay.
What I have risen to, what my brain has brought me to now, to see clear. There's a music that says, I can see clearly now.
Okay.
Now I'm seeing clear. What I'm seeing is on the floor. It is going to come on the floor.
Okay.
But if I single-handedly start fighting on the floor, I will be defeated based on my mindset. I may be wrong. So what I have taught on, first of all, bring it to the Liberian people. Try to present it to our Liberian people. Let them begin to think about it. And you guys on these platforms, you talk to thousands of people every morning. Look, I know that you wake up in the morning many days thinking about your future for you and your family.
Exactly.
How much will they pay you here? You're not, but you're sacrificing your time, growing up, educating our people, fighting. How many people appreciate you on this?
We carry account.
Yes. So if you that have the platform and people have to listen to, if all of you begin to understand what the whole concept is, then to just be castigating, the narrative will change. People will begin to start learning. So if I run to the Senate, which I have done, I mean, you monitor me on the floor. I'm not just talking because I get muff. I've been having experience in talking with, I was in the educational sector. I taught UNU for 3 years. I taught Cotton Graduate School for 5 years. So I'm not just talking because God gave me muff. If I run to them, everyone on that floor has their own political dividends. Nobody wants to be seen downplaying their political leader.
So that is the case. That is the culture.
It is politics. That's where democracy is.
Okay.
So those houses were established for democratic practices. So it's all about majority. You can cry wolf all day. When you are not able to gather what you need, you will just talk.
So, Senator, you are in essence saying that legislature, you are the problem of the Liberian people, and you are coming out of that problem. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying to you, everybody understands politics from a different perspective. I'm saying to you that people come from the various counties with their own mindset on what they hope to accomplish. So you can't say I am running away from them because I don't think they know. It's a political battlefield, and everybody have their interests. And in most instances, people think about the counties that they come from. Holistically, it's another issue. So what I have realized is bring the fight, but bring the fight starting by rallying the young people most especially. When you can rally them, they will begin to pressure them in their counties. Gone are the days that our young people should still be naive on the real cause of our suffering. And as I said at the beginning, corruption is one of the key. But here's the issue, for an example. They say the legislature, they gave them $45,000 car. And the whole country is vexed. They gave them whole $45,000 car. All right. Let's face it. You know, people don't like to face reality. For me, you can cost me, anybody can call me, cost me now. That's their business. What I believe is what I'm going to talk in fact. The $45,000 car, you're forgetting to know that ArcelorMittal exports. They are exporting iron ore. It is the iron ore that people are using to produce those cars. We're not getting nothing from ArcelorMittal. But when those cars go and manufacture, they bring them here. The least brand new car in Liberia is $45,000. Brand new. And that is why the Senate last year made it a law that nobody should buy above $45,000 car. Nobody should buy the cheapest, more than the cheapest car in Liberia as government official. Only people that are given the latitude to do so are the president, the vice president, the pro tem, and the speaker. Everyone else, government official, anyone, $45,000. Now the cheapest. But the country cry when they hear the money. Why wouldn't they cry? Because everybody's suffering. You understand? But here is it. ArcelorMittal that everyone praising today, that they have a $1.4 billion investment, they build a concentrator. Now, who is the concentrator for? What is the value that is adding to Liberian? They claim job. How much would they be paying? $150, $100 if possible, $200. Can that $200 change anybody's life or livelihood? Hell no. The concentrator that everyone's celebrating, that I saw the president going to, the pro tem going to, the vice president going to, I just sat in my house looking at it on my telephone and I started smiling. That's PR. People want to be seen that something new is happening. But that's why I always now beginning to talk about the bottom line. I'm tired looking at the icing on the cake. The cake is rotten, but you put white icing on it and it looks so beautiful on the top. The concentrator is a clear indication that ArcelorMittal has decided that instead of spending excess money on the shipment of ore, which has a mixture of dite and the actual ore, the ship that takes the ore out of here charge them by tonnage. So if you continue shipping the dite that you're digging from Nimba Mountain mixed with the ore, the ship is going to take most of your money. So what they have realized that when they ship it out of here, two things. The cost for shipping a ton, they are losing when they get on that side. Secondly, the environmental rules and regulation in their country, or those countries, the markets that they are shipping this ore to refine it, is getting tougher. When you wash or clean those dite or those iron ore, where do you put the dite? They are finding it difficult in disposing of the dite in their country. So they have made a decision that let's put a concentrator there to concentrate only on getting our iron ore and leaving the dite right here in Liberia. So two things they are benefiting from. When they put the tonnage on it, it's totally iron ore.
On the ship.
On the ship now. So if the ship is charging them for that iron ore, they are sure that it is only iron ore. They are not losing there. That's the whole idea. And then secondly, disposing of the dite. I tell you, in a year or two, you will see the Nimapo will start crying for either the water being polluted or something else is happening from the dike that they have nowhere to dispose but back to the environment to affect our people. But nobody will look at that. Everybody say job opportunity. The same poor job that improves nothing.
Okay, so Honorable Senator, according to you, when these things are introduced on the floor of the Senate, where you are currently, you find party line coming in. You found those that, for example, you have rescuers and you have those who from the opposition. And when the argument is on the floor, party sentiment takes over the entire argument. How do you think this can actually be transformed so that people now, from your colleagues now, will see Liberia as a bigger picture, more than seeing party, political party as the most, institution to cherish and support over Liberia? Because when the argument will be that from the Unity Party, and I will support the fact that it is our government, will defend this, will defend it, meaning they will be seeing the country lesser and the political party will be seen higher. How can this work out?
I've put something on the floor that they sent the committee room. Now we are testing now.
Okay.
We've been talking, but we have not been putting it on the record. So last week I sent something. They said in 2 weeks time they come here. So I'm waiting. Today Thursday.
What does that mean?
Should be one of it. There should be the 2 weeks, or maybe Tuesday next week constitute the 2 weeks. What I put in there was, number one, Firestone Liberia was never called Firestone Liberia. It was Firestone International. How did they change the name in the 80s or in the 90s to Firestone Liberia? What's the benefit? What are they running away from? Because according to our business registry, once you have that Liberia added to you, you are on local base. And if you are on local base, who are the shareholders? What is the benefit to Liberians? Why are they doing that? Are they evading certain taxes? ArcelorMittal Liberia. Why are they ArcelorMittal Liberia? Who are the shareholders? Who are the beneficiaries? And I brought B Mountain in because the government now have to relook at their right to issue concession. And I'm charging them for grabbing or land. It is a violation under the international law, where they are now taking the people land because their goal is running under the land of the people, not by the consent of the people in Kitma. So I'm testing it because what I want to do, when I'm not satisfied with what they are doing, from the report that the committee will bring up and plenary will endorse, I will lay the complaint to the head of the national legislature, which is the speaker, in a formal communication. And if the speaker doesn't intervene, or his intervention does not satisfy my curiosity, then we'll go for interpretation to the court. So what I have decided to do now over my 8 years that is left is to just pay attention to the Liberian people. I don't care on what they will do. I know, as I said, costing party will cost me. Right now, some of them will tell you think you perfect, you did that one, you do that one. Oh, my brother, then I won't care for anymore.
So this brings me to the second point. Now that the senator said his eyes is well open, he's seeing all of these things, and you sit in the seat of an opposition as a CDC senator, an opposition senator in this light. In this case now, it brings us to the point where somebody will say you are seeing all of these things because you are in the opposition. What can you say to this?
I tell you clearly, I'm not speaking on behalf of any political party. I didn't come here to talk about any party. I'm talking about the Liberian people. And if it caused me to even resign from party and be an independent, because if you're doing things people think it is for something. No, the people of Sino voted for me, not because I was of any political party. Remember, I was a representative. There's a reason they voted for me. After one term, they voted for me to be senator. Not the old face you're looking at that what they look at and say, we're voting for him. No. It is because of what I have done for my people and continue to do for them. So I don't care about party. My life that God brought me on this earth for did not tie me to any political party. So I'm not saying this because of me being part of any opposition or not being part. Who is the opposition? Everybody in the present ruling party are my friends. Everybody in the former ruling party are my friends. The country is so small. Everybody knows everybody. So who are the people? So this is not party politics in any way. All we're trying to do is to conscientize the president that, hey, you have enough time, 4.5 more years, to help us make these changes, to change the livelihood of our children. That's all I'm trying to say. So if I didn't like them, I wouldn't be bringing the idea for them to have the ability to change. Their refusal to change will be now that I will begin to see it as the incapacitation to help the Liberian people, inability to help the Liberian people. Then I begin to challenge them.
Great. Bringing up a new debate. This new debate, have you considered what it entails? This new debate where your eyes are opened now and you want to bring the issues to the Liberian populace to begin to appreciate or to have the understanding and appreciating what you are saying, that is interests of these people are met. You didn't answer that yet. But so are you? What capacity do you hold in bringing up this new debate, ensuring that it reaches the people and the people can grasp the concepts?
Capacity? I'm a Liberian citizen. Born here, die here. So, as I said, it is not about me anymore. I have decided, look, let me give you something about our African concept. The concept of being a black man is like being Christ. We don't like ourselves. That's the very first thing. And I just told you.
You say we're one third. The word was that we are one third of a human being.
Of a human being that was written in the Constitution of the United States during slavery. And make that research, you will see it clear.
I don't agree to that.
Yeah,
personally, I don't agree.
Do you think I should agree to it? I don't know. But it is the psychological concept that they have been using on the black man over and over that has made us today to hate ourselves. And as long as a white man comes and you see him, you are happy. Let's look at the role of the United States in Liberia. Pay attention to that. Since they told us that we were not capable of being an independent country, 10 years after they brought our slaves and dashed them in Freetown, Sherbrooke Island, when the mosquitoes were killing them, they were able to grab them again and transfer them to Providence Island. They said, we are not capable of establishing a country. It took them 10 years before they could say, okay, let them be our country. Every one black man that stand up to fight for himself, they can have a problem with it. I want you to follow history. You see, as a journalist, you all know. Haiti was the first black independent country that came from slavery in the Caribbean there. Today, there is no peace in Haiti.
There is no peace.
Liberia, from the time we were formed, they never helped this country until World War II. When the war was coming and they needed Liberia to be a base where they could easily send the black African troop to war and to use it as a supply during the war, that's when they built the free port for the ships to come to. That's when they built the airport, RRA, for the planes to land. And that's when they brought in, they call it, the one that used to direct the submarine, what they mean, across the bridge there, man, nice refugee camp. What the place name, man? The radio station or the VOA. That's the place they had there. It was only a means of directing the submarine. When they did not need submarine technology by that means anymore, they canceled it. So what I'm telling you, if you look at, first of all, we should be proud of our history. If you look at Liberians, it is Liberians that build their own country. Everything you see here, our road opening, that Tottenham opened those roads. Today, everybody cussing Tottenham. Tottenham, oh, he do nothing here. Money was here, he do nothing here. But you forgot to know that the entire place was forest. Trees blocking everywhere. Only walking path from town to towns. Tottenham was the one that opened road from Monrovia to Maryland to Sino to Grange. All of these places that we're enjoying road today. Even in Lofa, that the president comes from today. You know what it means to open road in the rare dense forest that have never been opened before? Tottenham is the one that built the Capitol Hill that we sit on today. The executive mansion was 2 million, 200 million to build. When Tottenham asked the very American who called themselves our very good friends, what did they tell him? It's too expensive. It's too expensive. Tottenham said, but if it's expensive, then when it will be cheaper? Tottenham had this recording now on YouTube because of that. Tottenham stood up and built the executive mansion, he built the Capitol building, and he built the Temple of Justice. Even come to of most recent, the central bank that Dr. Samuel Doe built and died before completing. When Dr. Jones wanted to complete that building, the IMF told us, we don't have money to waste. We must use that money for something else. Dr. Jones said, they must be proud to this country. We need a good vault. We need a good institution that is managing the country resources here. Today, Dr. Jones completed that central bank. Today, we are all proud of it.
Even the Italian RI, the terminus, it was the Chinese that built the terminus.
But, oh man, open your eyes. So I'm telling you, they don't believe we are human beings. They believe we are just slaves with no ability to reason. And so they can never help you. That's why other African countries, as I told you about the economic liberation, countries now are beginning to stand up, paying attention to the resources. And it is only the resources that can help our people. But we are all afraid. And the part I was telling you about, the double-handed game, when you know that when you're doing it, they call it international best practices. If you know an international best practice is good for you, but it's not good for Liberians, then I begin to wonder. They come here, they make us feel so bad about ourselves because we are black. Look at the sanctions. They came and they put some of our officials, certain officials, under sanctions. Everybody in the country became happy. Oh, they are corrupt. That's why they put them on sanction. But up to today, there is no proof of their corruption. Why was it? We had a meeting in the Capitol building with, I think, about 8 to 12 Americans. In that meeting, Darius Dillon was there, Amara Conan was there, other lawmakers were there, senators. And I asked them, I said, your sanction that you put us on, our officials in this country, up to now you haven't told our country why. You haven't given us detailed information on why. How do you expect them to exonerate themselves? You know what they told me? If they want to exonerate themselves, let them hire a lawyer in the United States. And the lawyers will go to the courts in the US and fight on their behalf. When they are not found guilty, then they'll be exonerated. Now, do you know what that means? They are barred from going to America in the first place. They cannot go there to even defend themselves. But then you must hire an American lawyer who will be charging you the least $3,000 US per hour. Per hour.
Wow.
So where do you get the money from to exonerate yourself? So I'm using the case of Nukwe. Nukwe was serving in the House of Representatives. Nukwe rose to the rank of Speaker. That's a man there. Among your friends, you rise to hold leadership. They ain't put him under sanction. Nukwe left and came to the House of Senate, the House of Elders. He been there for a while. You put him under sanction. But when Nukwe spent his time making sure that the people of Magibi benefit from the factory that Jetty brought in transforming the latex or the rubber from Firestone or from other private rubber owners into something valuable, then you say Nukwe is on sanction now. You can't tell me what he wants sanction for. So you leave my brain wide open to wonder why is he on sanction. If you have brought proof to me, this is what he did, and the government of Liberia say, yeah, that's true. He did this, then I will have no time to use my brain to wonder around to know why Nukwe was put on sanction.
So
but when Nukwe,
my county, the former ambassador, said that if your government is serious in fighting corruption, they should take up the case and will provide the evidence.
But what sense does that make?
So they blame our brain.
Exactly.
What sense let the government pick the case.
Yeah.
They can't. They say we're ready to fight the case. Okay. They will provide the evidence.
So why didn't you provide the case to the government first? And if government failed to act, then you can come up and say, I gave you all the evidence. A whole year has passed, you haven't picked up the case. So now I can take action on the international market. I'm not an international base. But without giving the government, you come up with your sanction. So what I'm saying is, let's stop putting in our brain that the white man will help us to develop.
And in more recent time, the Justice Ministry have said that they are in fact pleading with the American government so as to aid them to ensure that these sanctioned officials can have some time, to be adjudicated and all that. So you also see that as a means of playing on the black again.
Yeah, but pay attention to Nukwe right now. Yeah, when Firestone is calling the caucus of Magibi because they have the major base there. When Nukwe sits in there, then they get up and walk out.
Yeah, I saw that during the Senate agriculture, the agriculture committee where the two Magibi senators were there. Firestone had to walk out.
Why?
Because of the sanction.
Exactly. Also, Firestone now is the people that sanction it.
So
they are part of the American sanction. Look, my man, stupidity is something that that's my mission now. Let us pay attention to what is keeping us cool and stop blaming and being happy for other people downfall, thinking that they are responsible. Yeah, we are responsible because we are placed in a position to do so. Politics on the floor does not allow it to happen so easily. Because think about it now. If the president went to open the how you call it, the concentrator, and someone get up and say, "My man, you're not supposed to go over there, man." That is another added exploitation of our people, minerals, and wealth. Do you think the rescue in the House, in the Senate, will come to support me to tell the president that is the case? Hell no. They don't want the president to feel that he is not capable or he's not in the interest. So the politics on the floor is a politics on the floor. Nevertheless, I believe the Liberian people have the more power than even we that sit up in there. And so now I have decided to begin taking it to the Liberian people. And whether anyone like it or not, that's my constitutional right.
Yeah, you name two things. One is 80% of the poverty in Liberia to be the mindset, the way foreign partners have engaged. So the next thing is 20% is corruption. So as you have commenced this, discussion with the Liberian people, how do you also intend to curtail the issue of corruption as well that constitute 20% of the suffering of the people?
For me, Liberian men want to say, I will do that one, I will do that one. But in a percentage ratio, if we can solve the 80%, then the 20% can be easily solved. You solve the 20%, it has nothing to do with the improvement of the 80%. Now, everywhere, you have a great America that were making muff talking every day. Yeah, Donald Trump came up here. Donald Trump said, the agents say that we have been using to pump billions and trillions of dollars in to help the people around the world, have been misusing it on corruption. Donald Trump said it. He accused the entire, they call them USAID of corruption. Because that's the agency America used to help poor people. Buying drugs, doing this, doing that. Corruption is something that the world cannot eliminate, but rather they can reduce. They are corrupt. They who have the money. Think about the poor man. So I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's so wrong. But it is time now that we stop wasting all of our time and energy on fighting this so-called corruption, but rather fight for the 80%. When the 80% is improved, then 80% of us are better. Then we can now, when you are satisfied, when somebody brings $10 to you, you say, what are you for?
So the 80% is policy
changing the policies that would be in the favor of the common citizens in this country.
And that is in your purview.
And that is, but how many times should I report this? It is. That is why I'm here.
And one bill that have also stayed for some time at the level of the legislature is this Decent Work Act of 2015. Low salaries, like you talk about ArcelorMittal paying people, low and all concession companies are paying peanuts. And these things can help to improve the living conditions.
The policy are called to change.
Yeah. What is holding this particular bill that has the proclivity to transform the living condition of the ordinary people?
The Decent Act bill is in the legislature.
They're repealing to repeal it.
And I mean, when you say to repeal,
the
amendment, because the Committee on Agriculture headed by Senator Wellington G. Smith. Previously, on the 54th, they started the negotiation, but that has been very slow, and Liberians have been calling for a speedy process to ensure that at least the working or the payment of salaries can improve. So that is something. Why are people looking at it? As well?
As part of this movement, you need to consider that as well.
100%.
Okay.
The issue is you know, yes, if you say they have brought it to local aid again, I commend them for that. That is something, at least they are thinking of something like that. But let's look at the Ministry of Labor in totality. There is a serious problem in the Ministry of Labor. It's enforcing the laws. Enforcing the laws. Look at even those companies that are claiming to be company in Liberia. They do not employ anymore. Maybe they employ a handful of people just to show that yes, they are employing. But the bulk of their employees are contractors. What's the idea about the contracts? It's to run away from the benefits that Liberians should be having. Health benefit, medical benefit, retirement benefit, leave, benefit of leave, annual leave, sick leaves. So all of those things that make you to feel like a human being don't want to be addressed by these employees anymore. By the employers anymore. What is the Ministry of Labor doing? How do we deal with it? We have the oversight responsibility. Why is it not still changed? You see, the head of the snake, I'll give you one example before before you tell me I'm running away from responsibility. If you look at the history of our political system and how we as Liberians are thinking now in this political sojourn, it has a great effect on the way we think and the way we act. Two things bothering us: culture and inexperience. I'll talk about the inexperience first. When the slaves came here, you will notice that the mulatto slaves were the leaders of this country, the first leaders. There must be a reason. In the United States or other countries that were in the slavery, it is the mulattoes, the light-skinned ones, who were given the opportunity to learn how to read and write. Because their father was slave, their father was white, and the mother was what? The slave on the farm. So the white man child, even though he's mulatto, he had them in his shops or in his stores, tallying information, counting how many cotton bags is coming from the field, transacting it. So they were forced to learn how to read. The typical black man was denied. If they are called learning how to read, they were hanged. So when they came back, the typical black cotton pickers, as they used to call them, could not read and write. They were farmers. So the mulattoes started. When the mulattoes started, I think they started with the Republican Party, and after a time, the majority of dark-skinned slaves that came formed the Grand Oturi Party, and they were able to outrun those guys and became the leaders of this country. E.J. Roy was the first black man, dark-skinned man, to become president of this country. That was a revolution. But democracy was never there. So the mulatto had it, nobody was there, no multi-party democracy. Tory party took it, no multi-party democracy until 1980. Until 1980 when Samuel Doe took it. Samuel Doe took it, they introduced multi-party democracy. Doe never allowed that democracy to work fully because people were afraid of the military. Doe was running as president, as a civilian man, and clean and clear free democracy did not take place. When did it actually start? It started just recently with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and George Weah. So that's the concept there, that we are still not used to democracy. We are learning what democracy is. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is the culture. When the big man talks, you expect the small boy to talk. It's something that has been into our culture since we were born. Even if the big man say, you don't want to take his shave off on the table, and you know you take it. When you say the not me, your mouth will slap you. Pow! Shut up! Shut up! You say the man lying? You tell me the man. So we grew up respecting elders, regardless whether they are right or wrong. You are not brought up to look in the faces of them and say you are wrong. They see you to be disrespectful. All of these are reasons that we are still not there yet. You see, this is why we're not there yet, but we're learning.
Great, and let's come to these issues and our governance. You are still a member of the CDC. You were just in leadership a year or 6 months ago, and we have a new leadership. What's the overview about governance in the first 1 year, 6 months, are there changes in the issues of governance? Is the government setting the trajectory to change the situations that confronting the population, of which the regime that you supported was ousted? And let me just bring this to your attention before you answer to the question that we just played in our news yesterday. Drivers and commuters using the Southeast are praising the government of road construction. What was the last time you went to the county? Have you seen improvement in the road?
And I'm going there very soon also.
Okay.
You know, as I told you, I didn't come here to talk about party politics. But the fact is, the Unity Party-led government, this is not the first time being in power. Okay, the vice president who served under Ellie is now the president. There is nothing new that they don't understand on how to run government. To grade, no, I think I gotta go back to school to grade, because I don't think I actually learned grading. But the point is, CDC failed the people. You put Joseph Bertha here, an old man. You put George Weah here, a young man. Why you think the people left George Weah with all his youthfulness, the young people were behind him? When George Weah won the election, only Lofa County did not vote for him. All other counties voted for him. Why the second time they chunked him out? Because CDC failed the Liberian people. George Weah now has his own issue. And if we want to dissect why CDC failed, we'll do that another time. But they failed. The Unity Party now has been given a second chance to come back. My only dissatisfaction, Unity Party, they got a lot of smart guys in there. I'm not here to downgrade Liberians. But I'm telling you, they could do smarter things that could better the livelihood of our people. I saw Jeremiah standing to ArcelorMittal when they were doing this concentrator thing. I looked deep into his face. I saw that he wasn't happy. I may be wrong. I'm not a psychologist. But I worked with Jerry for 6 years in the House of Representatives. And I know Jerry he's a kind of a radical. You understand me? He in mind, I guess he was thinking, what is this really about? Why are we here? Okay, Nima County, if I don't come, this is an issue. You understand what I'm saying? All I'm saying is the president with his long-term presidency as it relates to being vice president, been in different meetings with the cabinet, been in different meetings with the president for 12 years, understand the political stages, interacted with other African leaders, knows what it means. I see that the Liberian people voted for him for one reason, because he was old, and that he can take bold steps without being afraid. How long do you live? What's the whole idea? Is he afraid of the West poisoning him, or is he afraid of the West overthrowing him? Is he afraid of the West castigating his name, having propaganda that will make the Liberian people to turn against him? What is he afraid of? So that is the issue. He is the head of this snake called Liberia. Wherever the head goes, the rest of the body go. So the politics that is being played in the House of Senate and the House of the representative, all is centered around him because of our inexperience, as I just explained, on when we actually begin to face democracy. So he who got the ball by the horn should be able to direct it. And the first thing he can do in order to direct it is to revisit these concessions, is to revisit these policies that he made there. Even in his government that was brought there. And according to him, he was all car parked in the garage. So the president was heading the whole thing as the head of the snake. Now he is the head of the snake. Let me see drastic change based on policies that will help Liberians help themselves.
Great. So there is roads, there's improvement in the roads in the Southeast.
So why will I deny that?
Okay.
And everything they do, and to the extent that I support the government on the issue of the yellow machines. And I also heard in some private discussion that they are bringing over 200, farm machines. I think the Canadian is giving them. Whether it's allowed or not, that's what I heard in a close discussion. And so anything you do that will help to improve the livelihood of our people, of course it must be admonished for that. But I'm saying all of that will still not change. It's just little that we need to change. What we need to change is our policies.
Great. Senator Crayton Duncan is here with us. You listen to the deliberation. We are very happy to have such an honorable person with the expertise, and he has this movement, our movement. And I think, personally, I think the movement, the ideals of the movement is unique in transforming our country. So we'll have the next quarter of an hour, 15 minutes to pick your calls. Ask your questions and make your comments, and then the senator will respond and take his essay because he has to go to section. Good morning. Let's pick our first caller. Your name and where you join us from.
Good morning, Jeff. This is Hansel PK. I call from the Duporo Health Center Bell.
Let's hear you.
So, I want to thank the honorable senator for his deliberations. Let me ask this question to him. If they bring down Arsenal Matar radical before you, will you vote in favor of it, or will you not vote in favor of it, looking at all of these things? And the environmental issue that we have discussed, the president, I don't know if the president went over there and took into consideration as the EPA, as to whether when they basically do all of this thing, whether they dump the day, or they just going to dump it in our rivers and our communities. Look, the president said the mining sector were probably be made as statement.
Thank you. Let's keep it at 1 minute. Good morning. We want to pick as many calls as possible. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
My name is Peter Kessary. I joined you this morning from Central Monrovia.
Let's hear you.
Let me say good morning to the senator. Quickly, I'm so grateful to see you live. I heard about you, boss. I'm grateful to see you. And you just said it. If we will move forward as a country and people, we need to revisit most of our policy. Honorable Senator, let me just remind you one thing that I've thought about and I want to bring before you this morning is this issue about retirement benefit. This is struggling to have, for example, a senator elected for 9 years and after being defeated.
Thank you. Retirement. Good morning. Your name and where you come from.
Good morning.
Let's hear you.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Soda, General Material Resident.
Let's hear you, Daniel.
Let me appreciate the senator this morning. I've been wondering why this honorable cartel between the former senator. From the SOG this morning, from the understanding of the issues that are confronting our people, that confront us. The maybe don't understand people of Samu County, they will have decisions. But I don't want to encourage him. Let them want to give them with let them understand the issue the way you understand it, so that they all can be able to be in favor of our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Let's speak with Representative Mama Briggs Mesa, Honorable Lawmaker. You're live. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Thank you, Chief. You are new. I've been seeing some balance in your discussion. I've been following it.
Thank you.
Let me say good morning to my very good colleague and my friend Crayton Duncan. I appreciate his elaboration this morning, and even the question coming from you people is a good one. Let me say this to us. I will tell Crayton and the rest of us, this is the time, and the most we can do for our people is to be more proactive. We have resources. There are countries I have traveled, some of them only have one thing in their country, but they are so serious and conscious minded and have put in laws that will protect their citizens and the resources. We have all of these resources in this country. We're sitting playing with it. It is cost for us to call the president in a retreat and tell him that we need to review and look at some of these concession years. Look at, when you talk about the ArcelorMittal thing, ArcelorMittal, the concession agreement that was made between they and Ellen, it said 2 years they were going to build the concentrator. That the concentrator is there after 20 some years and people were celebrating this. Can you imagine that frustration? Oh, our own money, they were able to pay concentrator. We haven't even bring a pressure firm to get all that $1 billion they're talking about, that they built this concentrator with. Let's check it and see. Let's check it. Look at B Mountain
Thank you.
I'm in it with you. I'm in it to pay, but let's work together. Let's build a team of like-minded and push this thing, and Liberia will remember us.
Thank you so, Carl. Thank you so, Carl. Honorable Lord Mayor Member Briggs Mason. We'll have this international caller. Good morning. Your name and where you join us from?
The students of Senator Crayton, Duncan, we are actually here in the Philippines, and he is sponsoring us here in the Philippines. Let me say good morning for those of you in Liberia. I'm glad to join the discussion. You know, TV, it is time that we as Liberians to begin to understand the reason behind our country being poor and our citizens being under such a condition. And this campaign, we are calling on every Liberian to join Senator Crayton Duncan in this fight. It is time. Our resources is what God gave us. That's the inheritance for Liberians. God gave it to us so that we can use it wisely in order to impact the life of the Liberians, those that were born in Liberia. And those companies that are coming from out of the European world, going to Liberia, exploiting our resources, come and think about it. Perhaps maybe 50 to 75 years from now, what would the local generation depend on in order to improve Liberia? Look at our rural sectors. We depend on our resources and we allow foreigners to come and export our resources. Within a second, this guy get our resources and then rich. Why the ordinary Liberians remain in actual property? I can recall when I was in Bangladesh, there was a company, the Turkish money company in District 4. But that company, because they were paying drivers around 600, 700 USD, we don't know how that company left Liberia. That's how they left the mountain in Gamu. That place is called Gamu in Bangladesh in District 4.
Thank you. Thank you so, Carl. So the WhatsApp, sorry we didn't announce the numbers. But the other people had the number, they started calling, so we forgot. But the numbers are 077 for the benefit of those of you who do not have the numbers. 0771 111 0771 111 0881 3683 23. The WhatsApp is 231 880 531 809 231 880 531 809. Yeah, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel. Good morning, Chair. Good morning to Senator Crayton Duncan. Let me say thank you, my dear Rogers, our small corner from the Cocoa Belt, and my name is Shakables. You know, when we listen to our leaders when they speak like this, sometimes we happen in our mouth, say they want to can speak in the heart of our 20s until we are moved forward. Let me say, all the things I say, I go for this, I put this in trying to fight for. Then this is what I saw these people, and I said, people working for the current district, they got farms. How much do they pay their own people? That worship people. When the Western one said that money will be refusing, that's an example. They send them mail and send to support the project. President tell me, those that work for some of the people, they get back here their money in the southeast. They take more, they get less, and we are getting a job. But when they say on the radio, they are talking fine. But the implementation is different what they say.
Okay.
Who betray who? That's the question I ask.
Thank you. Who betrayed who?
Thank you. Good morning. Your name and where you join us from?
Morning, Jefferson, morning to Emmanuel, morning to Honorable Senator Crayton Duncan. This is Emmanuel Tuesday. I joined this conversation this morning from this street. Religion is following certain point in time of on Crayton Duncan conversation, I got confused. And he started by laying a case, and in all argument, you realize that he has a strong and passionate vision for Liberia to see how best he can emancipate the Liberian people in active and constrained property. But he was there, Mr. Crayton Duncan, on the deliberation, his initiative deliberation, as though he is not connected in terms of presenting a case to see how best he can attack his colleague. Because he just admitted to all the Liberian people that he has a relationship with the Vice President Michael, who is the presiding officer at the National Legislature and the Senate. So it's that he he just decided, as they said to him, he said he wanted to buy the idea to see how best we can put our legislator on the video, see how best they can do a progressive to put in his favor so that at least the 80% of the issue of the
Thank you so kindly, Tosia. Good morning,
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, let's hear you. Let's keep it at 1 minute.
I was lying down car while monitoring the show.
Go ahead, Albert.
First of all, Senator, I'm a key stakeholder within the disabled community. And the life of the disabled brother and sister in Sino is actually deplorable. We decided to move in far back when Mr. Matthew Zaza, Mr. Thierry, all of that was there. We wrote documents to go do assessment on that side. While the document was languishing in their offices to no avail. So we are asking you people that are in this zero country to help the disabled people. I'm so proud of Nimba. Look at the school that is building Nimba for the disabled people there. I went there just last week. The people were there.
Thank you. Great point. The senator will respond to that. This disabled issue is very cardinal. Pascal, you live. Let's hear you. Pascal Davis.
Yeah. Thank you. So I will be very concise. Look, Jeff. The accident for the national leader is for those people who I will back to invest. All of you are investors. The first thing, you are the one who's supposed to check in all the professionals here, including people who are here from institutions. But you vetted the people and you confront them. If there are issues, who they don't go to. So it's about what you do as a legislator. You come to the public now, and all of what you say sounds good, but you also have the power to change. Unfortunately, all of you as a legislator got confidence. All of you over there got confidence that you're operating. You compromise of the people. So you can, what do we do? We should be asking to do what is right. Now, I mean, it's unfortunate.
Thank you, Pascal. Good morning. Your name and where you join us from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Joseph Doe calling for contact count.
1 minute. 1 minute, please. You calling for Sano. Let's hear you for Sano.
Yeah, thank you. Let me commend Senator Crayton Duncan for his analysis. And we really enjoy his statement. And we pray that all of our makers can join to do what he can for the Liberian people. Kudos to him. Thank you. We are monitoring on D2FM this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly. Let's hear you. Hello.
Sir, hello.
Your name and where you come from?
Okay, my name is Peter. Let me say good morning to the senator. Quickly. Oh, Senator, please, like I said, please be reminded that too much of waste in government, most especially on this issue of retirement benefit. I want you to look at it. You cannot have someone elected for 6 years after that the president considered himself to be a retired former official of government, paying 50% to them every month. This is waste. That money can be used to develop Liberia and move Liberia forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean. Good morning. Your name and where you come from? Sorry. So we will leave. It's almost 10 o'clock. So we will leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Return the. Unless the senator wants for us to have 10 more minutes. But because
I'll come back.
Yeah.
I like all of the.
Okay, so let's squeeze this last international caller. This will do. How do I answer? But let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Okay, I think we got him. We got this international caller. Good morning. Yeah, let's hear you. Your name and which country you calling from?
Let me say good morning to all Liberians, especially to Senator Duncan. I'd like to say hello to Senator Duncan. As a matter of fact, I am one of the Liberian journalists, and I am scoring for Senator Duncan. But with respect to the issue, now, actually, I will get for this year, you know, this future, we will remember him has the Liberian inventory of Burkina Faso. This fight is indeed a very good fight, and I encourage all Liberians to join it.
Thank you. Because of time, we have to leave here. I think he got the point. Senator, is you are obliged now to respond to him.
No, thank you. I like the callers. All of them have their value. That's why we came to the radio, so that we can understand how some of them are thinking. I did not take myself out of this. We are all guilty. Okay, only Jesus Christ is a perfect man, according to the Bible. I'm a Christian. But I'm only looking at the root causes, and that's what I'm trying to develop. The guy actually said, whether I will vote for ArcelorMittal renewal. I think if you listen to Nyan Tuan, the senator of Nema County, he clearly indicated that the present MDA have never been met by ArcelorMittal. He listed several categories. I listen to the Nema people. I'm not from Nema, even though I'm a senator of this country. They must meet up with those agreements. And then, if there is to be a renewal, that renewal must be the Liberian first as it relates to what they call the Republic. And so if they cannot pay attention to that part of the Constitution that talks about the Republic, the citizens, then there will be my own problem. All right? The next one talking about the retirement benefit. It made me laugh. He said, people who work for 6 months getting 50%. I wish that were true.
6 years, which is a lawmaker.
Yeah, a lawmaker who work, like a representative, who work for one term,
Yeah.
then he get 50% of his salary. I wish that was true. I don't know where he's getting his information from. But the fact is, because of the poverty-stricken criteria that's in this country, categories that's in this country, nobody wants anybody to benefit from anything. If somebody serve, they should not be retired and be rewarded for serving. Every newspaper, every radio host criticizing that. So senators, representatives are even afraid to make that as a law. But it must be something that you can benefit from after you have served. Our serving is not just getting in the position and leaving. We contribute immensely. Like in my county, if you want to name the amount of projects that I have been doing up to now that I'm doing, it's countless. I have forgotten myself. It's not about me anymore. Every once in I get, I put it into my county. And then to have some percentage of your salary given to you as a retirement, then the Liberian man vexed. So nobody wants to talk the facts. Everyone is shying away. Look at the Chief Justice who just retired. The Chief Justice salary accordingly was what?